Stop scrolling. Stop doubting. Stop running from the stirring in your spirit. Something is shifting in the unseen realm, and deep down you already feel it. There is a holy urgency in the atmosphere, a divine movement that cannot be delayed, a powerful turning of seasons that no human hand can control. God is whispering to your heart, rest while you can. It's happening soon. This is not a message of fear. It is not a message of panic. It is a message of preparation. It is a message of faith. It is a message of divine timing. Because when God begins to move, no force in this world can stop what He has ordained. You have been fighting battles that no one else saw. You have been carrying burdens that would have crushed weaker hearts. You have endured silent nights filled with questions, long days filled with pressure, moments where you smiled publicly but wrestled privately. Yet through it all, God has sustained you. Through every delay, He has preserved you. Through every disappointment, He has strengthened you. And now there is a sacred pause before acceleration. There is a breath before the breakthrough. There is a stillness before divine action. That is why God is saying to you, rest while you can. Rest does not mean quitting. Rest does not mean surrendering your purpose. Rest does not mean abandoning discipline. It means trusting God so completely that anxiety loses its grip on your heart. It means understanding that you do not have to force what God has already scheduled. It means recognizing that the same God who promised is the God who performs. When God speaks, creation responds. When God commands, doors open. When God declares, destinies shift. Some of you have been striving endlessly, trying to make things happen through your own strength. You have been pushing, forcing, exhausting yourself because you fear that if you stop, everything will collapse. But hear this clearly. If your destiny depends solely on your effort, then it was never God's promise. What God ordains, He sustains. What God initiates, He completes. What God plans, no opposition can cancel. The reason you can rest is because God is not resting. The reason you can breathe is because God is already working behind the scenes. There are blessings forming that you cannot yet see. There are connections aligning that you have not yet met. There are answers being prepared that you have not yet heard. God operates beyond your timeline. He sees the beginning and the end simultaneously. While you are worried about tomorrow, God has already secured it. While you are anxious about next month, God has already stepped into it. The unseen preparation is greater than your visible frustration. Rest while you can, because when it happens, it will happen swiftly. When God moves, He moves decisively. The waiting season has trained you. The silent season has purified you. The hidden season has built endurance within you. You thought you were being delayed, but you were being developed. You thought you were being ignored, but you were being positioned. You thought doors were closed as rejection, but they were protection. God does not waste pain. God does not waste patience. God does not waste obedience. There is a divine acceleration coming that will require strength. There is an elevation approaching that will demand clarity. There is a responsibility unfolding that will require wisdom. That is why this rest is sacred. This is not laziness. This is not complacency. This is strategic restoration. Just as a warrior sharpens his blade before battle, just as an athlete conserves energy before the race, God is telling you to gather yourself spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, because what is coming is not small. You have prayed for increase. You have asked God for expansion. You have cried out for change. But increase brings responsibility. Expansion brings pressure. Change brings exposure. And God, in His mercy, prepares His servants before He promotes them. If He released everything you asked for without preparation, it would overwhelm you. So He strengthens your character before He increases your platform. He deepens your faith before He enlarges your territory. He humbles your heart before He raises your influence. Do not mistake the quiet for absence. Do not confuse stillness with stagnation. Seeds grow in silence. Foundations are laid underground. The strongest trees develop roots before they display branches. God is rooting you deeply so that when the winds come, you will not fall. God is stabilizing your spirit so that when attention comes, you will not become arrogant. God is anchoring your identity so that when success arrives, you will not lose yourself. Rest while you can, because soon you will step into a season where opportunities multiply. Conversations will shift. Doors will open unexpectedly. Favor will find you in places you never imagined. And when it happens, it will not be because you forced it. It will be because God ordained it. You will look back and realize that every tear, every rejection, every closed door was guiding you towards something greater. Some of you are tired because you have been carrying what God never asked you to carry. You have been trying to solve problems that are beyond your authority. You have been worrying about outcomes that belong to God alone. Release it. Release the timeline. Release the fear. Release the need to control every detail. Trust that God is precise. Trust that God is intentional. Trust that God is never late. When God says it's happening soon, it does not mean chaos. It means fulfillment. It means manifestation. It means the visible expression of what has long been invisible. You are closer than you think. The breakthrough is not distant. The answer is not lost. The promise is not forgotten. The spiritual pressure you feel is evidence of transition. Something is being rearranged in your favor. But hear this, when it happens, you must be ready. You must be spiritually alert. You must be emotionally grounded. You must be mentally disciplined. Because sudden elevation without inner stability can destroy a person. That is why this resting season is holy. It is training your trust. It is teaching you surrender. It is refining your motives. God is not preparing you for a moment. He is preparing you for a lifestyle. He is not giving you temporary relief. He is building lasting transformation. The shift that is coming is not cosmetic. It is foundational. It is not surface level success. It is destiny level change. You have been underestimated. You have been overlooked. You have been dismissed. But God saw what others ignored. God heard the prayers spoken in whispers. God recorded every act of obedience done in secret. And the same God who sees in secret rewards openly. Do not let impatience sabotage what faith has built. Do not let frustration cause you to abandon your post. There is power in quiet confidence. There is strength in peaceful expectation. When you truly believe that God is moving, you do not panic. You prepare. You align your thoughts. You guard your heart. You remove distractions. You cleanse your intentions. You create space for divine instruction. Rest while you can, because soon you will be called to rise. Soon you will be asked to lead. Soon you will be positioned where influence flows through you. And leadership requires clarity. Influence requires humility. Authority requires alignment with God's will. You are not waiting in vain. You are not hoping without evidence. Your faith is not blind. It is anchored in the character of God. And God does not fail. He does not change his mind because of public opinion. He does not retract promises because of temporary setbacks. What he has declared over your life stands firm. There are moments in history when everything changes suddenly. One decision, one conversation, one opportunity, one divine encounter. And the trajectory of a life shifts forever. You are approaching such a moment. That is why the tension feels different. That is why the atmosphere feels charged. That is why your spirit feels both calm and expectant. Do not waste this season in anxiety. Do not spend this sacred pause in comparison. Stop measuring your progress against others. What God is doing in your life is unique. Your assignment is specific. Your timing is intentional. Rest in that truth. The world may be noisy. Circumstance may appear unstable, but God is steady. God is sovereign. God is in control. When you anchor your heart in Him, external chaos cannot shake internal peace. That peace is your strength. That peace is your testimony. That peace is your preparation. Some of you have been praying for clarity and God has given you calm instead. You wanted detailed instructions, but He gave you reassurance. You wanted a full map, but He gave you trust. That is because faith grows in mystery. Strength develops in uncertainty. And when the time comes for movement, you will move with boldness because you rested in confidence. This is the hour to strengthen your inner life. Speak to God daily. Align your thoughts with truth. Remove negativity from your environment. Guard your words, because words shape atmosphere. And when God moves, you want your atmosphere to be filled with expectation, not doubt. Rest while you can. Because acceleration requires endurance. When the doors open, you must have the capacity to walk through them. When responsibility increases, you must have the discipline to handle it. When influence expands, you must have the integrity to steward it. God is not just changing your circumstances, He is transforming you. He is enlarging your vision. He is stretching your faith. He is deepening your resilience. The very pressure you feel is shaping you into someone capable of carrying what is coming. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not disqualified. If God has preserved you this far, it is because your story is not finished. The chapter that is about to unfold will reveal why you had to endure the previous ones. There will come a day very soon when what you prayed for stands before you in reality. And in that moment, you will remember this season rest. You will understand why God told you to trust instead of strive. You will see how perfectly He aligned every detail. So breathe deeply. Release the fear. Strengthen your faith. Protect your peace. The countdown has already begun in the unseen realm. The wheels of destiny are turning. The pieces are aligning. The favor is approaching. Rest while you can. Not because nothing is happening, but because everything is about to happen. Not because God is distant, but because He is preparing something greater than you imagine. Not because your journey is over, but because it is about to accelerate beyond anything you have known. Stand firm in faith. Anchor yourself in God's promises. Silence the voice of doubt. Refuse to let temporary discomfort distract you from eternal purpose. Your season is shifting. Your breakthrough is forming. Your calling is awakening. The stillness you feel is sacred. The quiet you experience is intentional. The pause you are living in is strategic. God wastes nothing. And soon, very soon, what has been forming in silence will manifest with power. And you will step forward strengthened, prepared, and unshaken because you chose to rest when God told you to rest. And you trusted when God told you to trust. And you believed when circumstances tried to convince you otherwise, and understand this with absolute clarity. The reason God is commanding you to rest is because you are standing at the edge of divine convergence. Multiple prayers you prayed in different seasons are about to collide into one appointed moment. Things you asked for years ago, things why almost forgot about, things you cried over in secret. God did not discard them. He stored them. He preserved them. He waited for the precise intersection of readiness, timing, and purpose. What feels like delay was divine coordination. There is a rhythm to God's movement. He is never rushed, yet He is never late. He is never pressured, yet He is always precise. When He declares that something is happening soon, it carries weight beyond human definition. Soon in the hands of God does not mean random. It means aligned. It means prepared. It means that the invisible architecture of your breakthrough has reached structural completion. You must grasp this truth deeply. Exhaustion is not a badge of honor. Constant striving is not proof of faith. True faith rests in the character of God. True strength flows from trust. When your spirit is anchored in Him, you can stand still without feeling stagnant. You can pause without feeling behind. You can breathe without feeling guilty, because you know that the one who governs time is orchestrating your outcome. Many people move ahead of God because they fear being left behind. But when you move ahead of divine timing, you inherit burdens that were never assigned to you. You create pressure that was never necessary. You step into battles without protection. God is not asking you to accelerate prematurely. He is asking you to align patiently, because alignment unlocks ease. Alignment activates favor. Alignment removes unnecessary resistance. There is a sacred confidence rising in you, even if you cannot explain it. It is subtle, but it is steady. It is quiet, but it is powerful. That is the assurance of God settling into your here. It is the inner witness that says something is shifting. You may not see physical evidence yet, but your spirit senses movement. Pay attention to that peace. That peace is not accidental, it is confirmation. The world teaches you to grind without stopping, to hustle without breathing, to chase without reflecting. But God teaches you to trust without fear, to prepare without panic, to wait without anxiety. The difference between worldly striving and spiritual readiness is surrender. When you surrender to God's will, you do not lose control, you gain clarity. You do not lose momentum, you gain direction. Rest is not weakness, it is warfare of a different kind. It is declaring to your fears, you do not control me. It is declaring to your doubts, you will not dictate my decisions. It is declaring to your circumstances, God's promise is greater than your appearance. When you rest in God, you resist the chaos that tries to invade your mind. Some of you are experiencing unusual pressure right now, unexpected obstacles, strange resistance, emotional fatigue that seems heavier than usual. Do not be discouraged. Pressure often precedes promotion. Resistance often signals relevance. When you are close to stepping into something greater, opposition intensifies because what is coming carries impact. But remember this, opposition does not determine outcome. God does. You must guard your thoughts in this season. Your mind is a battlefield. If the enemy of your peace cannot stop your destiny, it will try to exhaust your focus. It will whisper, it's not working. It will suggest, maybe you misunderstood. It will question, what if nothing changes? But you must respond with conviction. God has not brought me this far to abandon me now. Speak that truth aloud if you must. Strengthen your atmosphere with faith-filled declarations. There is also a deeper lesson in this resting season. Identity. Who are you when nothing is visibly happening? Who are you when applause is absent? Who are you when progress feels invisible? If your worth is tied to constant achievement, you will never experience peace. But when your identity is rooted in being chosen and sustained by God, you can rest without losing confidence. God is shaping you internally for external manifestation. He is refining your motives. He is purifying your intentions. He is ensuring that when the doors open, you walk through them with humility, not pride. Because pride cannot sustain what favor brings. Only gratitude can. Only reverence can. Only continued dependence on God can. Do not underestimate small instructions in this season. When God prompts you to forgive, do it. When He nudges you to let go of bitterness, obey. When He encourages you to strengthen discipline, follow through. The details matter. Sometimes the final key to a major breakthrough is hidden in a simple act of obedience. Do not overlook the quiet corrections of God. They are signs of His investment in your future. There is also a call to emotional healing before expansion. Some of you have carried wounds that you never addressed, pain from betrayal, disappointment from broken expectations, hurt from being misunderstood. And God is saying, release it now. Because what is coming requires emotional freedom. You cannot carry old wounds into new rooms. You cannot bring yesterday's bittern SS into tomorrow's blessing. Forgiveness is not weakness. It is liberation. It is declaring that your future is too important to be chained to your past. When you forgive, you clear spiritual space. You lighten your spirit. You create room for fresh joy. And joy is strength. Joy is resilience. Joy is clarity. Rest also means recalibrating your priorities. Not everything deserves your energy. Not every argument deserves your response. Not every distraction deserves your attention. Be selective. Be intentional. Conserve your strength for what aligns with God's purpose. The season ahead will require focus. Do not scatter your energy on things that do not matter eternally. There is a divine exchange happening. As you release anxiety, God replaces it with assurance. As you surrender fear, He strengthens faith. As you lay down control, He establishes direction. This exchange is subtle, but it is powerful. You will begin to notice that situations that once triggered panic now trigger prayer. Conversations that once caused frustration now produce wisdom. That is growth. That is preparation. You are not merely waiting for a blessing. You are becoming someone capable of sustaining it. Character precedes capacity. Integrity precedes influence. Depth precedes expansion. God builds from the inside out. He fortifies the unseen before unveiling the visible. And when it begins to unfold, do not be surprised by its magnitude. Do not shrink back because it feels bigger than you imagined. Remember that God would not place you in a position He did not prepare you for. If the responsibility stretches you, it is because growth has already been taking place within you. If the opportunity feels weighty, it is because your foundation has been strengthened. There will be moments when acceleration feels overwhelming. Doors opening rapidly, invitations increasing, demands multiplying. That is why this rest is crucial. It is storing energy for the journey ahead. It is building stamina for sustained impact. It is cultivating discernment so you know which doors to enter and which to decline. Not every open door is from God. That is why intimacy with Him matters. In your quiet moments of rest, listen. In your stillness, seek clarity. In your solitude, refine your vision. The more aligned you are with God internally, the clearer your decisions will be externally. Trust that what is happening soon is not fragile. It is not temporary excitement. It is not shallow change. It is divinely anchored transformation. It is the unfolding of purpose that has been woven into your existence from the beginning. Long before you faced your first challenge, God knew this moment would come. Let your rest be filled with gratitude. Thank God in advance. Express appreciation before manifestation. Gratitude shifts perspective. It moves you from anxiety to expectancy. It reminds you that you are not at the mercy of chance. You are under the sovereignty of God. Some of you will look back on this season and realize it was the turning point. Not because of visible success, but because of internal surrender. You chose trust over fear. You chose patience over panic. You chose alignment over ambition. And those choices will echo into your future in ways you cannot yet imagine. There is also a refining of your voice happening. God is teaching you when to speak and when to remain silent. Power is not always loud. Authority is not always dramatic. Sometimes the strongest presence is calm, steady, unwavering confidence rooted in divine assurance. As the moment approaches, you may feel a mixture of peace and anticipation. that is natural. It is the awareness that something significant is near. Do not let anticipation turn into anxiety. Keep your heart steady. Keep your faith anchored. Keep your focus clear. The unseen realm is more active than you realize. Arrangements are being made. Barriers are being removed. Hearts are being softened. Opportunities are being positioned. God is weaving together circumstances in ways beyond your comprehension. And when it manifests, you will know without doubt that it was Him, because the alignment will be too precise. The timing will be too perfect. The outcome will be too intentional to attribute to coincidence. So strengthen your spirit now. Deepen your connection with God now. Cleanse your thoughts now. Forgive now. Heal now. Rest now. Because soon the pace will shift. Soon the call will be clear. Soon the door will open. And when it does, you will not step forward in panic. You will step forward in power. You will not move in confusion. You will move in clarity. You will not carry fear. You will carry faith, because you understood the assignment of this season. You honored the pause. You embraced the rest. You trusted the process. God is faithful. God is sovereign. God is intentional. And what He has set in motion cannot be reversed. Stay ready, stay grounded, stay aligned. The unfolding is near, and you are being prepared not just to witness it, but to walk fully into it with unwavering confidence, unshakable CE, and a heart completely surrendered to God's perfect will. Do not mistake this season of quiet for insignificance. Heaven does its most intricate work in silence. When God formed the foundations of the earth, there was no audience applauding. When He ordained your destiny, there was no public announcement. The most powerful movements of God are often concealed until the appointed hour. And right now, you are in a concealed hour. An hour where roots are deepening, where vision is sharpening, where endurance is solidifying. You may not see the scaffolding of your future being constructed, but every day that you choose faith over fear, another beam is being set into place. There is a difference between waiting and wasting. Waiting is intentional. Waiting is active trust. Waiting is spiritual discipline. Wasting is passive doubt. Wasting is restless impatience. Wasting is abandoning belief because the clock feels slow. God is not asking you to waste this time. He is asking you to steward it. Steward your thoughts. Steward your energy. Steward your focus, because what you cultivate in hidden seasons determines how you stand in visible ones. You are being taught to depend on God in ways that go beyond convenience. It is easy to praise when progress is visible. It is easy to believe when doors are opening. But when everything appears still and you continue to trust, that is mature faith. That is refined faith. That is unshakable faith. And that kind of faith carries weight in the unseen realm. It moves mountains of resistance. It shifts atmospheres of opposition. It silences whispers of doubt. Some of you have sensed a holy detachment happening. Things that once excited you no longer satisfy you. Environments that once felt comfortable now feel restrictive. Conversations that once held your attention now feel shallow. Do not resist this shift. It is God recalibrating your appetite. He is removing your taste for what cannot carry you into your next dimension. He is elevating your desires so they align with your calling. When God is about to enlarge your territory, He first enlarges your capacity. Capacity is not just about skill. It is about spirit. It is about the ability to remain humble when praised and steady when criticized. It is about the strength to endure success without losing sensitivity to God's guidance. Because success without submission becomes dangerous. Expansion without dependence becomes unstable. God is ensuring that as your influence grows, your reverence grows with it. There will be moments soon when decisions must be made quickly. That is why clarity is being cultivated now. When you rest in God's presence, your discernment sharpens. You begin to sense what aligns and what distracts. You recognize the difference between opportunity and assignment. Not everything impressive is ordained. Not everything attractive is purposeful. But when your spirit is aligned with God, you will recognize the path that carries peace, even if it requires courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move in obedience despite it. And obedience is the highest expression of trust. When God says move, you move. When He says pause, you pause. When He says release, you release. That level of surrender is powerful. It positions you under divine protection. It shields you from unnecessary battles. It places you in the flow of divine momentum. You are also learning the discipline of silence. There are promises God gave you that were never meant for public discussion. There are visions He planted in your heart that must be guarded. Speak them carelessly, and you expose them to doubt and criticism. Protect what God has spoken. Nurture it privately. Let it grow without interference. When the time comes for manifestation, it will speak for itself. The pressure you feel is not random, it is refining pressure. Like gold purified in fire, your character is being strengthened through intensity. Fire does not destroy gold, it reveals its purity. Likewise, this season is revealing your resilience. It is exposing weaknesses so they can be corrected. It is highlighting strengths so they can be sharpened. Do not resent the fire, respect it, because what emerges from it is stronger, clearer, and more valuable. You may feel misunderstood by those around you. They do not see what you see. They do not sense what you sense. They cannot comprehend the inner shift you are experiencing. That is because God sometimes isolates before He elevates, not to punish you, but to protect your focus, not to abandon you, but to amplify your clarity. Isolation is often preparation in disguise. Do not chase validation in this season. Approval from people is unstable. It shifts with opinions and circumstances, but approval from God is constant. When you know you are aligned with Him, external criticism loses its sting, external praise loses its intoxication. You become grounded, steady, immovable, and as the appointed moment approaches, there will be a testing of your patience one last time. It may feel like everything is taking longer than expected. It may seem like progress is slower than promised. But this final stretch is crucial. It stretches your endurance. It fortifies your resolve. It ensures that when the breakthrough arrives, you will not collapse under its weight. Remember that God's promises are not fragile. They are anchored in His authority. Circumstances do not intimidate Him. Delays do not surprise Him. Opposition does not overpower Him. When He decrees that something will happen, the entire universe aligns to support that decree. Your responsibility is not to force the alignment. It is to remain faithful within it. Resting in God does not mean disengaging from effort. It means working from peace, not from panic. It means striving with clarity, not with chaos. It means understanding that outcomes are not solely dependent on your strength. You do your part with excellence, but you trust God with the result. That balance is powerful. It protects your mental health. It guards your spirit. It sustains your joy. There is also a strengthening of your voice happening internally. You are learning to speak life over yourself, to declare truth when negativity arises, to replace "I can't" with "God is able," to replace "it's impossible" with "nothing is beyond God's power." Words shape reality. They create internal climates. Fill your inner world with declarations that align with divine promise. Soon, very soon, you will look at a situation that once seemed immovable and realize it has shifted. You will stand in a place you once only imagined. You will experience provision where there was once lack, and when that happens, remain humble. Remember the nights you cried. Remember the days you doubted. Remember the season of rest when nothing was visible. Let gratitude anchor you. Gratitude is protection against pride. It keeps your heart soft. It keeps your spirit teachable. It reminds you that everything you have is a gift from God. And when your heart remains grateful, your growth remains sustainable. Some of you are about to step into rooms you never thought you qualified for. Do not shrink back. God qualifies whom He calls. If He opens the door, walk through it confidently. You are not there by accident. You are not there by luck. You are there by divine appointment. But hear this clearly. Success is not the ultimate goal. Alignment with God is. Influence is not the destination. Obedience is. Wealth is not the measure. Faithfulness is. If you maintain that perspective, nothing will corrupt your purpose. Nothing will distract you from your mission. The rest you are experiencing now is like the calm before a powerful tide rises. When the tide comes in, it moves swiftly and decisively. You cannot stop it. You cannot reverse it. That is how divine momentum feels. It carries you forward with force and clarity. But you must be balanced when it arrives. Grounded in humility, anchored in faith, directed by wisdom. Continue to cultivate inner discipline. Guard your habits. Strengthen your routines. Build consistency, because consistency sustains what sudden opportunity initiates. Many people can step into a moment, but few can maintain it. Maintenance requires character. It requires perseverance. It requires daily surrender to God's guidance. You are not just being elevated for personal gain. There is impact attached to your promotion. There are lives connected to your obedience. There are people who will draw courage from your testimony. When God lifts you, it is never isolated. It is generational. It echoes beyond your immediate circle. So remain sensitive, remain teachable, remain prayerful. Let every step be covered in consultation with God. Do not rely solely on your intellect. Do not trust solely in your experience. Seek divine wisdom continually, because wisdom preserves, wisdom protects, wisdom prospers. The unfolding is near. The shift is real. The preparation is purposeful. And you are not the same person you were when this season began. You are stronger now, wiser now, deeper now, more resilient now. God has been working within you even when you felt uncertain. So embrace this final stretch of rest with reverence. Breathe deeply. Strengthen your spirit. Silence unnecessary noise. Focus your heart. Because when it happens, it will not be subtle. It will not be small. It will be undeniable evidence that God was working all along, preparing you quietly, shaping you faithfully, and positioning you perfectly for what was always meant to unfold in His perfect and sovereign timing. There is a holy tension building in the atmosphere of your life, and you must learn how to carry it without collapsing under it. This tension is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a signal that something is about to be born. Before dawn breaks, the night feels at its darkest. Before a river overflows its banks, the pressure beneath the surface intensifies. Before a seed breaks through the soil, it must split open in hidden darkness. You are in that splitting moment. You are in that unseen transformation. And God is saying, again, rest while you can. Because what is emerging from this pressure will require every ounce of faith you have cultivated. You cannot enter a new season with an old mindset. If your thinking remains small, your experience will remain limited. God is expanding your perception before He expands your platform. He is stretching your understanding before He stretches your territory. You have prayed for more, but more demands maturity. It demands discipline in your thoughts. It demands authority in your speech. It demands stability in your emotions. That is why this preparation is internal first. The invisible realm must shift within you before the visible realm shifts around you. Some of you have been asking God for a sign, but He has already given you one: endurance. The fact that you are still standing after everything that tried to break you is proof that God's hand has been sustaining you. The fact that you still believe after disappointment is proof that your faith is alive. The fact that you still hope after delay is evidence that God has not removed His promise. Endurance is not accidental. It is supernatural preservation. Do not be intimidated by the magnitude of what you sense is coming. God does not reveal future responsibility to frighten you. He reveals it to prepare you. When you glimpse the size of your calling, it may feel overwhelming, but remember that the one who designed the assignment also designed your capacity. He will not assign what He will not empower. He will not command what He will not equip. Trust that if the vision is growing, it is because your ability to carry it is growing as well. There is also a cleansing taking place in your environment. Certain relationships may fade, certain conversations may cease, certain habits may feel uncomfortable. Do not chase what is exiting. When God begins to move you forward, anything that cannot accompany you into the next dimension will gradually fall away. Let it go without bitterness. Let it go without resistance. What remains will be aligned. What remains will be strengthened. What remains will support your growth rather than hinder it. You must also recognize that rest is an act of rebellion against fear. Fear demands constant movement. Fear whispers that if you slow down, you will lose everything. But faith declares that nothing God has ordained can be stolen by stillness. When you rest in God, you are declaring that His sovereignty is greater than your striving. You are proclaiming that His authority is higher than your anxiety. There is wisdom in conserving your energy. Not every battle deserves your attention. Not every accusation deserves your defense. Sometimes the most powerful response is silence combined with excellence. Let your results speak. Let your integrity speak. Let your consistency speak. When God elevates you, He does not need you to announce it. The evidence will be undeniable. The coming season will require boldness, not arrogance, but boldness rooted in certainty. Certainty that God sent you. Certainty that God equipped you. Certainty that God goes before you. When you walk into new territory with that assurance, intimidation cannot dominate you. Comparison cannot distract you. Criticism cannot derail you. Comparison is a thief of joy and clarity. Stop measuring your timeline against someone else's highlight. You do not know their hidden battles. You do not know their unseen compromises. You do not know their internal struggles. God's dealings with you are specific. Your path is customized. Your journey is intentional. Trust the design, trust the pacing, trust the process. In this resting season, sharpen your spiritual sensitivity. Pay attention to small convictions. Pay attention to subtle guidance. Sometimes God speaks in impressions rather than interruptions. He nudges rather than shouts. If your life is filled with noise, you will miss those nudges. Quiet your heart, reduce distractions, create space to listen. There is a recalibration of priorities happening. What once felt urgent now feels secondary. What once seemed essential now feels optional. This is not confusion, it is clarity. God is realigning your focus toward what truly matters. Eternal impact over temporary applause. Character over comfort. Purpose over popularity. When the shift begins, some will celebrate you and some will question you. Do not let either reaction define you. Stay anchored, stay consistent, stay aligned with God's instruction. Public opinion fluctuates, but divine direction remains steady. If you seek to please everyone, you will compromise your assignment. Seek only to remain faithful to God. You are being taught resilience at a deeper level. Resilience is not just bouncing back from failure. It is maintaining faith during success. It is remembering who you are when the spotlight shines. It is remembering who sustained you when recognition increases. Never detach your gratitude from your growth. There is also a call to generosity in this season of rest. Generosity of spirit, generosity of forgiveness, generosity of encouragement. The more open your heart is, the more freely God's blessings can flow through you. Closed hands cannot receive. Hardened hearts cannot expand. Keep your spirit soft. Keep your intentions pure. The unseen realm is aligning in ways you cannot calculate. Conversations are happening that include your name. Opportunities are forming that require your skill. Doors are being reinforced so that when they open, they remain open. God's preparation is thorough. He does not rush construction. He ensures stability before exposure. And when exposure comes, it will reveal not only your talent, but your character. That is why this refinement is essential. Talent may attract attention, but character sustains trust. Skill may open a door, but integrity keeps it open. Guard your integrity fiercely. It is more valuable than any position. You are closer than you realize. The distance between promise and manifestation is narrowing. The gap between prayer and fulfillment is shrinking. You may not see it with your eyes yet, but you can sense it in your spirit. That anticipation is not imagination, it is confirmation. Let your rest be intentional worship. Let it be gratitude expressed quietly. Let it be confidence practiced daily. Do not waste it on worry. Do not dilute it with doubt. This is sacred ground. This is holy preparation. There will soon come a moment where hesitation must end. A decision will be placed before you. An opportunity will require immediate response. And because you rested, because you prepared, because you aligned yourself with God, you will respond without fear. You will step forward decisively. You will move without second guessing. God is not only changing your circumstances, He is elevating your perspective. You will begin to see challenges as training rather than punishment. You will begin to see delay as refinement rather than rejection. You will begin to see opposition as confirmation rather than cancellation. Nothing you endured was wasted. Every tear built compassion. Every setback built strength. Every closed door built discernment. Every disappointment built depth. And depth is what allows you to carry weight without breaking. The hour is approaching when rest will turn into action. Silence will turn into proclamation. Preparation will turn into manifestation. And when that hour arrives, you will recognize it instantly. There will be no confusion. There will be no uncertainty. There will be clarity, peace, and divine assurance guiding every step. Until then, guard your heart, strengthen your faith, refine your habits, deepen your trust, because what is happening soon is not random fortune, it is the unfolding of God's intentional design for your life. And you are being shaped, strengthened, and sanctified in this very moment to step into it with authority, humility, courage, and unwavering devotion to God alone. So now you understand why this moment of rest is not ordinary. It is not accidental. It is not empty. It is sacred. God has been shaping you in silence, strengthening you in stillness, anchoring you in trust, and preparing you for a shift that will mark your life in undeniable ways. Every delay had a purpose. Every closed door carried protection. Every tear watered unseen seeds. And now the ground beneath you is trembling with divine movement. You were not preserved just to survive. You were preserved to step into fulfillment. You were not strengthened just to endure. You were strengthened to carry weight. You were not called just to wait. You were called to rise at the appointed time. And that time is drawing near. The atmosphere around your life is charged with anticipation, because God has finished certain preparations that you could not see. When it begins, do not panic, do not shrink, do not doubt your readiness. Walk forward with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing God has gone before you. Move with the assurance that what unfolds is not luck, not coincidence, not human arrangement, but divine orchestration. The same God who sustained you in obscurity will sustain you in visibility. The same God who comforted you in private will guide you in public. Carry humility into every new room. Carry gratitude into every new opportunity. Carry integrity into every new responsibility. Let your elevation reflect God's faithfulness, not your ego. Let your success point back to His sovereignty. Let your influence remain anchored in obedience. Remember the nights you chose faith over fear. Remember the days you stood firm when nothing made sense. Remember the season when God told you to rest instead of rush. That obedience is what positioned you. That trust is what strengthened you. That surrender is what aligned you with this moment. You are stepping into more than change. You are stepping into alignment. You are stepping into fulfillment. You are stepping into a season that carries weight, purpose, and divine intention. And because you honored the pause, because you guarded your peace, because you trusted God, when there was no visible evidence, you will enter this new chapter steady, focused, and unshaken. The waiting was not wasted. The silence was not empty. The rest was not weakness. It was preparation. It was positioning. It was God building something within you that could not be built any other way. Now stand ready, stand grounded, stand confident. What is happening soon will confirm everything God has been speaking to your spirit. And when it unfolds, you will recognize it not as a surprise, but as a promise fulfilled in perfect timing, under the authority, wisdom, and sovereign power of God alone.